All right, welcome back to SouFLoTV again, everybody. It is your host with the most. This is another U.S. immigration update. Very important information for a lot of people who are in panic right now to know, because this might ease their panic. So the U.S. rescinds plan to strip visas from international students in online classes. We'll explain what that is about in a minute. Now, as you know, United States of America's immigration system has pretty much been put on pause. And there are a lot of visas that have pretty much been suspended. So there are people that are overseas that would normally come to the United States of America for work or business, and they are not allowed to enter at the moment. People who work here have been sent home, and there are plans to send more of them home as their visa becomes null and void or put on pause. Students, foreign students going to school in the United States of America, they were on that list because the Trump administration had found a loophole in the law which allowed them to say any student who is not attending a class on campus, if their classes have moved to online strictly, then you can go back to your country and do your online classes online. They would have been stripped of their visas and sent packing from the United States of America. There was a lot of noise being made about this. So the update to this story in the New York Times is that the Trump administration said that it would no longer require foreign students to attend in-person classes during the coronavirus pandemic in order to remain in the country. Now, this comes after just a few days ago. This is exactly what the Trump administration had said. They would require foreign students to attend in-person classes. That would not have been possible because many schools have been closed and classes for many schools have been moved to online. With that being said, they have changed their minds. So, in a rare and swift immigration policy reversal, the Trump administration on Tuesday bowed to snowballing opposition from universities, Silicon Valley, and 20 states, and they abandoned their plan to strip international college students of their visas if they did not attend at least some of their classes in person. What these people are saying is, this is wrong. This is totally wrong. We are locked down for safety. Why are you requiring them to attend a building that was locked down beyond their control, and their classes are still available and they're available online? Why inconvenience them, stripping them of their student visas and sending them to their country? The policy, which would have subjected thousands of foreign students to deportation if they did not show up for classes on a campus, had thrown the higher education world into turmoil at the time when the university was grappling with whether to reopen campuses during the pandemic or to do some classes online and some classes on campus, etc., etc. Basically, the schools are trying to figure out what's the safest way to continue having school without getting people sick, infected, as we figure out our way through this coronavirus thing. Now, the loss of international students could have cost universities millions and millions of dollars in tuition, and it could have jeopardized the ability of U.S. companies to hire the highly skilled workers who often start their careers with an American education on these foreign student programs. 2 days after the policy was announced on July 6th, Harvard University, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, filed the first of a litany of lawsuits seeking to block such a policy. Now, on Tuesday, which was yesterday, Minutes before, a federal judge in Boston was to hear the argument on their challenge. The judge, Allison D. Burghurst, announced that the administration had agreed to rescind the policy and allow international students to remain in the country even if they are taking all of their classes online. Now, this is why I started out the video by saying, for those of you who are foreign students or know someone who is on a foreign student visa, they might have been racking their nerves for the past couple of weeks because the Trump administration had said that if you are taking any of your classes online instead of attending a campus, then your student visa was going to be pulled and you would have been sent packing back to your country. They have changed their minds on that, so you can now breathe easy and pass this message on to someone who needs it so they can breathe easy. They will allow the international students to remain in the country even if they are taking all of their classes online. Whew. The government had actually argued that the requirements that students take at least one in-person class was actually more lenient than the rule that had been in effect for pretty much about 20 years, which required foreign students to take most of their classes in person. But the rule was temporarily suspended on March 13th when Mr. Trump declared a national emergency and campuses across the nation began shutting down. Now, with classes moving online, on July 6th, the government made its announcement that foreign students could not remain in the United States if their studies were entirely online. Do you see that? If they're not going to be a student or they're going to be 100% online, then they don't have a basis to be here, is what actually Kenneth I can't even say his last name, Succolini. That is what, he's the acting deputy secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. And he's the one that came up with this. And this is what he said. Actually, if they're not going to be students who are attending their classes, if you're attending most of your classes online, you have no basis to be in the United States of America, basically. They should go home and then they can reapply and return when these schools reopen. Each year, over 1 million international students enroll in American universities. So you can imagine that tuition level when they say the amount of money that these institutions would have lost. They contribute $41 billion to the economy annually, and they support more than 458,000 jobs. Think about that. Now, in addition to Harvard and MIT, the Attorney General and 20 states, including Massachusetts and California, they also sued, charging that the policy was reckless, it was cruel, it was senseless, and scores of universities threw their support behind the litigations, along with organizations representing international students. At the end of the day, I'll say this. What we are in is an election year. You must understand that President Donald Trump ran on the premise that he would get the immigration situation in the United States of America under control. And the ways he wanted to get that done was by tightening immigration rules, like allowing less people to come in, more qualified people. He wanted to do away with the lotto system where anyone pretty much of any skill level had a possibility of making it in, providing other things were in line. He wanted to change it to only highly educated individuals getting first dibs on who would be coming into the United States of America. So for instance, if you're in, say, Jamaica, you would have to compete with a doctor, a young lawyer, or someone who has some higher level of education, a university degree, graduated in computer technologies, a bachelor's, a master's, and you are a farmer or you are a store clerk you would be placed at the bottom of the list. You understand? And that was how he started doing this, to include looking for other loopholes. How about this? We're on lockdown. The school campuses are not open. So how about all the foreign students, send them home? He's trying to reduce the numbers. And what he is doing essentially is building the wall that he wanted. If he cannot get that real wall, a wall made of material, a wall that we can touch, if he cannot get that real wall, then he will make a silent wall. And that is by bringing immigration to a screeching halt, if not a full stop, for quite some time to come. Good news, students are now still allowed to stay, even if they have to take 100% of their classes online. Pass the news on. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this one. It's an election year. Who are you going to be voting for and why? I'm out. Peace.